Hello, listeners. Hello, lifelong learners. Welcome to today's episode where we are going to dive into how to speak up for yourself. Now, today's topic, how to speak up for yourself, is something which is really close to my heart. Not so long ago, I was stuck in a loop of not speaking up for what I wanted, not speaking up for what I believed in. And I did it for a really long time. And I suffered for it. I realized how miserable I used to be when I could not share what was in my heart. I could not say no to things I wanted to say no to. And I always felt that I'm living someone else's life, not the life that I wanted to live. I realized my true power when I broke out of those shackles, when I learned to open my mouth and say what was on my mind and ask for what I needed or shared what I really believed in. So that's the reason why I teach this subject to my students, and my students are predominantly women. So, how to speak up for yourself is something that I feel everyone needs to learn consciously. Now, today I want to share with you a story of one of my students first. Let's call her Anuradha. Okay, I'd like to keep her name private. So, we'll call her Anuradha. Anuradha is the principal of a private college. In 2020, when COVID happened and the pandemic hit, and all the colleges were shut down, and no students were coming to the college, no new enrollments were happening in the programs, and it was miserable for everyone all around. That year she and her entire staff worked really hard relentlessly to bring their entire education system online. They brought all their classes online. They had to learn new skills, understand how it is in colleges, with one to one or face to face learning. They did not really believe that they needed a very strong system to teach through the web. So they had to pivot almost overnight to an online model. And she worked really hard to do so as well. Even when her staff was down and they were not around, she was always there in office, ensuring that things go online really smoothly. Now we all know how hard 2020 was on all of us, right? The fear, the worry, the stress, not to mention the disease that was going around. Now, in spite of all of this, she brought her college online within a few weeks. She ensured the well being of her staff and students. And she also ensured that she got new students enrolled into the college programs. They had a lot of short term programs as well. So she ensured that she was getting new business for the college. While all of this was happening, her husband lost his job. So, personally, now for her, there was a lot of financial pressure. She needed a lot of money. She needed a raise desperately, but she was very hesitant to ask for it. And she told me, China, I know what the balance sheets look like. I handle them. I know how much money the college has. I know where the money is going. And I also know there is no money for a raise for me. So I said, I encourage her to at least ask with the trustees. What's the worst that could happen? She would get a no, and she would be in the same place as before. So she said, okay, fine, I'm going to do it. She sent an email to one of the trustees, and she outlined all that she had done, also what she needed from them, and she asked for a raise. And they did not take a long time to reply back. Within a day, she got an email back and she got a phone call from the trustees. And he said, you know what? We apologize. We have been very remiss that, we've not acknowledged what an amazing job you've been doing, keeping the college together, keeping the college profitable, even though you were in such personal trouble. And they said, you're really precious to us, and you've taken us this far. We really value you. And they sanctioned a 20% raise for her. How many of you feel that a 20% raise is a good deal, especially in a year like 2020, 2021? Right? She called me that day squealing in excitement. See, amazing things happen when we start speaking up and standing up for ourselves. Now, why don't we do it? Some of you might have stood up, shined in your brilliance, took courage in your hands, and said those words which would get you closer to what you believe in, to what you value, to what your goals are. But we don't do it very often. We don't do it because the topmost fear that people have is the fear of embarrassment. Have you heard of the fear of public speaking as the topmost fear in the world? Yes. That comes from the fear of embarrassment. Fear of embarrassment holds us back from speaking up because we don't want to make a fool out of ourselves. We run away from any situation that has the potential to embarrass us. So we would rather keep our ideas and opinions to ourselves. But here's the problem: we save ourselves from embarrassment, but we are also hiding the brilliance that is there inside of us. And that's not really a truly authentic way to live, is it? People will not know the depths of your capabilities and the depths of your skills if they have never heard you. Also, you will not know whether your ideas have any merit till the time you don't air them and you don't get them validated from other people's feedback. And that, I can tell you, is extremely critical to grow yourself. We also don't speak up because we don't believe we are worth it. We believe we are not interesting people. Why would anyone listen to us? We also don't have any faith or confidence in ourselves. Perhaps you've given into conditioning of society or family or even peer pressure. Perhaps you're living your life as per outside influence instead of living your life as per what your soul asks you to do. But I can tell you this: there will come a day when not speaking up will break your spirit. I went through that. No one in this world is born without their own minds, without their own individual value systems, or without gut instincts. We all have these inherent in us. So, not speaking up is the way we dishonor ourselves. So, let's talk about how to start building your muscle to speak up for yourself. First, of course, you've got to identify whether it's wise to speak up or to stay silent. Not everything you think needs to be said, okay? Not every opinion is valid. So you've got to understand, take a moment before you blurt things out to identify whether speaking up is going to help or whether staying silent is going to help. Now, not everything you think needs to be said, right? So ask yourself, even if it's wise for me to speak up, is this a good time to share it? Perhaps it's wiser to calm down, or perhaps it's wiser to bide your time and speak up when the time is right. The next, ask yourself, will this person listen? Now, this type of person perhaps is the kinds who has shown you in the past, demonstrated that they are not ready to listen to you. They don't care. So it's unwise to express yourself to someone like this. Unless, of course, there is a circumstance where you are left with no other option. You've got to speak up. So save your breath, save your dignity, and I would say save your emotional energy. Now, how can you speak so that you are heard? Here is my topmost key recommendation: watch your tone of voice. What is your tone of voice communicating? What kind of emotionality is there in your tone? That matters a lot. See, I'm an emotional person, okay? So I usually wait for a good time when I'm not feeling so emotional, so sensitive, so imbalanced or off kilter before I open up. If I start getting upset during a difficult conversation, I take some time out and then I calm down and then I re engage. So I work on the skill of speaking calmly and respectfully, assertively, even when I'm really angry or I'm really frustrated about something. And I've realized cultivating a tone of voice that is calm and is assertive helps you to be heard. It brings respect and it is also well received. And in the end, you must know your truth. When you speak up, get clear about what it is you need to say and why. Spend some time with yourself. Understand who you are. For example, you may need to understand what are your boundaries. When do you need to say no? What emotions do you usually tend to avoid? Get clear about what is bothering you and why you need to speak up. And then plan how you can express yourself effectively. Okay. Now, I can tell you this, if you've spent a lifetime pretending and hiding, it can feel slightly awkward and messy when you start to speak your truth. But I can also tell you it's worth it. So, I hope these steps will help you get over your fear of speaking up. Thank you for listening in. See you in the next episode. Till then, stay brilliant.